Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Russell Mays. Once again, it's Sunday. Well, about 2:30 on the 29th. We're almost done with the month again. October, September, October, November, December. My God, the year has absolutely gone by. And there has been so much crap in the news nowadays that it makes my blood boil at how ridiculous the news has become. And I do mean all channels. I used to be an avid Fox watcher, and they're starting to go a little on the left-hand side too, with all the lies and the manipulation and trying to get the big story. And everybody's talking about the big story. And the big story, they say, is the whistleblower. I don't think this has nothing to do with anything. This whistleblower story is so weak. If you put it on a plate for food, you'd starve to death. And it goes beyond the emperor has no clothes. The media is trying to feed this garbage to us to make us think there's something seriously wrong or seriously that our president has done wrong. But that's all it is. They're trying to present this case. It's gone so far overboard that from Russia collusion to everything, you just got to relax a little bit and see the truth, what's going on. So what I was thinking about doing is let's find out exactly what a whistleblower is. The definition, if you will, a whistleblower is a person who exposes secretive information or activity that is deemed illegal, unethical, or not correct within a private or public organization. Think about that. That is deemed illegal, unethical, or not correct. So, if your teacher is teaching you that the moon landing was fake, and you go tell the public school, your mom and dad about it, the kid's a whistleblower. Okay, so I just got off on a tangent like that. So, I wanted to find out who is a whistleblower in history that actually made a true whistleblower accusation. The biggest and the most famous that I consider fame is, fix my hair, Benedict Arnold. Oh my God, everyone says, he's a whistleblower? Yes, he is. Benedict Arnold commits treason. On September 21st, 1780, during the American Revolution, American general, which was very highly regarded as a great man, Benedict Arnold meets with British Major John Andre to discuss handing over West Point to the British in return for the promise of a large sum of money and high position in the British Army. So during the American Revolution, Benedict Arnold took the side of the British, and West Point as you know, is right on the river. As a matter of fact, they had a lot of things going on because where it was situated prevented all attacks into the United States on that river because it was a very strategic point. They did it so bad that there was an actual chain that they put up that went across the river to block any ships coming through there. I guess there's a couple of links still mounted as a memorial on that. But being a whistleblower and a treason are a little bit the same, depending on your point of view. If you're looking at from the British's point of view, Benedict Arnold was a great man. Looking at it from the American Revolution, the American side of the exchange, he was a treason. So he was a whistleblower on the British side. He was a treasonous person on the American side. He did something for the gain of money. So that to me is one of the most history's famous. Moving right along comes to who I am still out to lunch on, whether he was a traitor or a true an American patriot whistleblower. And this one is really interesting. And the reason why I say that is because it's still going on today. And that is Edward Snowden. Edward Joseph Snowden. He was born June 21st, 1983. Is an American whistleblower who copied and leaked highly classified information from the National Security Agency, NSA, in 2013 when he was a Central Intelligence Agency employee and subcontractor. His disclosure revealed numerous global surveillance programs, many run by the NSA and the Five Eyes intelligence agencies with the cooperation of telecommunications companies and the European government, prompted a cultural discussion about national security and the individual privacy. You notice even in this information that I just provided to you, it was slanted a little bit. And the reason why I say that is because they do not bring up the Obama administration, Central Intelligence Agency, and using Snowden's own program, who wrote this program to spy on other governments in other countries. They used it to spy on Americans. And it was used by the telecommunications companies here in the United States and European governments. But they twist the words just a way to make it sound like it was overseas and he was giving information away about that. Well, this man was smarter than the Obama administration, the CIA, and the National Security Agency because he knew their tactics and he knew what would happen to him. It's really sad that he had to run to Russia to be protected from his own government, who was actually doing the illegal spying, if you will. They actually use this today, and people do not take it for granted just because he blew the whistle on what they were doing, that they stopped. And they haven't stopped. You know they haven't stopped. I know they haven't stopped. And they're using it against our president nowadays, trying to find anything about a whistleblower to him. Because this case of whistleblower that is against Trump is so weak, like I said before. It's just a nothing, and it's driving people nuts. So, That was Mr. Snowden. Another one, whistleblower, famous whistleblower. A former Google software engineer turned whistleblower sat down in an exclusive interview with Sarah Carter and a nonprofit called Project Veritas that works to expose corruption founded by the American journalist. People may know his name, James O'Keefe. You probably heard it in the news. He uncovered Google's politically aligned algorithms against the re-election of Donald Trump in 2020 conservatives. So, here we go again. Snowden uncovers all the illegal go-against or the activities the Obama administration is being used against its own people, which Hillary was part of, and the Democratic Party. So this information was gathered trying to stop Trump from becoming president in 2016. Now, all of a sudden, Trump gets elected, and we find out Google is doing the same thing. James O'Keefe turns around and releases that they have this logarithm adjusting what you see on the internet and how it's presented to you. The sad thing about this is we are bombarded every day by information. And the information that we have nowadays is becoming so convoluted that people can't tell the difference from the truth, the facts, and the lies that are being perpetrated upon the American people and the world people, as a matter of fact. I mean, it was even said, who was it? Was it Goebbels, the political guy over in Germany during World War II? He says, you tell a lie long enough and big enough, people will believe it. And that's exactly what's happening. That's what our media is. Our whole media organization is repeating these lies over and over and over again. You see it within the people. If you talk to people about it, they repeat everything they see in the news without investigating what has been said. Excuse me. That's what makes it really sad, because they're not making a decision based on the knowledge they're gathering. They're making a decision based on what the news is telling them. Well, I guess the government agency got after my throat with my frog in my throat. Unbelievable. I hate that. And I don't have a mute button here. Sorry, folks. All right, so that's what James O'Keefe uncovered in Google. Google got caught at it. They went on and said, oops, we're sorry. Okay, oops, you sorry. Did you change your pace? No, they have not. YouTube's a biggie. My stuff has actually been censored, blocked, even on Facebook has been censored and blocked of the way I'm presenting and reporting and doing my due diligence and giving my opinion and viewpoint. I had I'm going to get into this a little bit later on, but the sheer hatred that is actually being perpetrated in our country. So anyway, now comes another little person, and this one just actually blew me away. Okay, now let's bring it up to date. Okay, everybody's been hearing about the vaping issue that's going on right now, and how Juul has been trying to addict kids to nicotine and get them to smoke the cigarettes, and they're under investigation, and they're trying to shut down all the vaping for everything is gone. Juul is actually owned by the tobacco companies now, both Altera and Marlboro and Pall Mall, all those guys. So Big Tobacco owns the Juul Corporation. They don't own the vaping side of it. They own the e-cigarette side, Juul. Okay. Jeffrey Wigand. Is that how you say it? Wigand. Look it up. Jeffrey Wigand. Okay. Are you ready for this, folks? This former tobacco company executive, who is a whistleblower, made enemies by claiming on 60 Minutes, if some of your older folks know what 60 Minutes is, I guess it's still going on now. In 1969, all righty? 1969, the tobacco company did this, that cigarette companies were fully aware that they were packing their products with addictive levels of nicotine. Do you believe this? Are you seeing a connection here, people? Juul, which is owned by the tobacco company, has just been caught packing their Juul sticks with addictive levels of nicotine, trying to get kids hooked on the nicotine. And everybody's going, ooh, 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 ooh. But they don't realize in history, tobacco companies have been doing that nicotine addiction thing to the kids for a very long time. And yet, they twist in the news to stop the flavor ban of a product that's 95% safer that helps people stop smoking. The tobacco companies that own Juul and Altera are putting forth this effort to ban all the vaping products because it's cut into their profits. And at the same time, they have been packing their cartridges full of nicotine, and the ones that are killing people are the ones that have been altered on the street market through a THC. And they still can't prove that. But yet they can prove that Juul was packing it full of nicotine, just like they did in 1969 with the whistleblower Jeffrey Wigand actually proving that fact too. So what are you going to do? These whistleblowers are coming out telling what people and corporations and governmental political parties are doing, and we sit there and do nothing. We sit there and complain about nothing. I'm just absolutely in complete awe. Let's move on to another one. Sharon Watkins. Who's this person? Actually, her name is Sharon. It's Sherron Watkins. You might have heard about this, you might not have, depending on your age. And an executive for the Enron Corporation. She helped expose the seemingly formidable company in 2001 and 2002 as one constructed on enormous financial lies and frauds. Now, I don't want to get into the weeds on Enron and what they did, but how they made their company big was they took the money they made, got some of the first investors, turned around and gave it back to them, and made it pretend look like the company was huge. So then a whole bunch of people started investing in Enron, and they're taking that money out and falsifying the lies, and then they kept investing and reinvesting on nothing. Actually, if you look at it, it's a good scenario of what this whistleblower is that's going on now against our president, Donald Trump. The Democrats are investing huge amount of money, energy, and effort into this whistleblower, and there's nothing there. Hence, that's what happened with Enron. Along with Colleen Raleigh and WorldCom's Cynthia Cooper, she was one of the 3 whistleblowers named Time Magazine's Person of the Year in 2002. You believe that? Time Magazine actually honored somebody that did something good. But Time Magazine, I'm not going to make any accusations about that. That's their dealing. So they've been whistleblowing on Enron, let's just say that. So one of the things that comes about of all the whistleblowers, and the thing that our politicians, our government, our corporations, right down to the minor person walking and living on the streets, if you're doing something wrong, actually the police actually know this for a fact, somebody will talk. Somebody always talks. Very few do anybody get away with it. Some of them get away with a very long time. Some doesn't take long at all. I mean, look at the John F. Kennedy assassination. They had this all locked down, and all of a sudden human nature showed up, and here we have the Zapruder film proving that everything they planned out against Oswald was wrong. So in a sense, the Zapruder film was a whistleblower on the accusations the government made. Pretty interesting how all that works. So I guess let's get down into the nuts and bolts of all this. So the question that the media is blowing out of proportion is, this phone call to the Ukraine president, Vladimir Zelensky, falls into this category, or does it not fall into this category as of a whistleblower? That's the whole crux of all this. Does it or does it not? And did this unnamed person who has not been named yet, so that means your dog Pookie could have been the whistleblower if they don't tell us who the person is who's making such huge accusations that they jumped on with both feet to the point of wanting to impeach our president? Are you people out of your minds? How can you even suggest something that... It gets even worse than that. People don't realize that our president is the most powerful man in the world. He has the obligation to protect this country as he sees fit according to the Constitution. Our states and our local government are the ones that run the country with our Congress, our Senate, and the executive office and the legislative office. These make our country. But the president has to protect us with borders, military, dealing negotiations with other presidents and leaders of the world. Our president, President Donald Trump, is for America. Obama was against America. He did not like, and it's written in his book, Dreams of My Father, I think the title of it was, that he hates colonialism. That's his problem. He did not like the British. He did not like the colonies. He did not like the United States. He did not like any of these countries that presumably took away his people, if you want to call it that. So he became president by hook or crook, or by Michelle, actually, and he started slowly destroying our country. And I'm telling you, if Hillary got in, we would not have the America country or the America that we have. It would have been a shadow of what it once was. But what's interesting is because of this whistleblower thing, the Democrats have put all their eggs into one basket now as a last ditch effort to destroy our president. And I have to ask, and I want to ask, and I must ask the question, why is this happening again and again and again to our president, day in and day out, since the time he came down that escalator to run for president? Why are they so obsessed with him? Why do they hate him so much? And one of the things that really is impressive to me about our president is each time the Democrats try to undermine President Trump, they come up with mud in their faces. Every time this happens, they get more angrier at their own failures. That every time they can't get this president, the fury and the hatred, you can see it in their eyes. My God, how can anybody have such a black heart as the Democrat Party and the left-leaning people? How can our youth, who is just beginning life on this planet, if you will, and I know the climate changers are all going to say they're crap, but you just got out of the house, you just got into school, and you have this virtuous or vitriol hate for a human being. How can you have such hatred for somebody you have no knowledge of? It's like the atheists. They hate our Lord Jesus Christ so much. They do not want you to believe in him or pray to him, and they hate the man. And the question is if you don't believe he exists, how can you hate something that doesn't exist? That's the kind of hatred these people have for Trump. Why is that? What is happening? It's really sad that our country is turning into such issues. We as Americans are slowly being limited to what news is truth to be presented to us. Even the once right-leaning conservative Fox News is slowly becoming a socialist, left-leaning, in lockstep with the rest of the media. I saw that when Ed Henry and Mark Levin got into it. Mark Levin shut him down. I liked Ed Henry, but he tried to twist it to make it sound like the whistleblower was a true fact. Mark Levin stepped on his neck and shut him down hard. And if you didn't see that, you're also blinded to what is happening with the media. The news organizations in today's world is no longer freedom of the press. It is now the mouthpiece of our oppressors trying to control the masses of the last place on earth that has a real chance of being free to live your life as you see fit. Think about that, people. The United States of America is the last bastion of freedom. And now the media is twisting that so you no longer have that freedom. They're manipulating the way we see things, the way we hear things, the way we view things, and the things that are actually presented. And nobody does anything about it. They have created a world where we're more prone to listen to BS than finding out the truth of what's really going on. I mean, let's face it, we want to have a great country. We want to have good relations with Mexico, good relations with Canada, fair trade all around. It makes people happy. It makes prosperous countries, all three, everything they do. The American, Mexican, Canadian, Mexican trade agreement is an awesome pact that will do that very thing. It's been sitting on Nancy Pelosi's desk for almost a year now. All it needs to be is passed, goes into action. Everybody will make money off of this. The countries will become prosper. Read about it. See what it says. They will not vote on it for the simple reason is the hatred of Donald Trump. They would rather talk about a whistleblower who had third-hand knowledge or hearsay of what went on. They want to impeach a president for hiding information that he released the entire documents to, showing that he didn't do anything. Here, he gave it to him. That right there makes the Democrats so angry their heads explode. So now they're caught between a rock and a hard place. They have the actual facts in front of them, black and white. Just read it and you'll understand it. That's all you have to do is just read it. But they've already committed themselves to this proverbial impeachment investigation, which means absolutely nothing. If you want to impeach the president, take it to the floor right now, Nancy, and vote on it. It has to be voted on before you can do anything. You can sit there and chinwag and talk until you're blue in the face. The media will carry your water for you no matter what you do. They will actually take your water and carry it on their back until you make a decision. No matter what kind of lie you're going to perpetrate, anything like that. Remember that lie? We've got to pass the bill to find out what's in it. Are you kidding me? This is the kind of lies and the perpetration our politicians are putting forth. And I'm going to tell you, the Republicans are not innocent of all this either. They are just as guilty as ever. Paul Ryan, I thought that man was going to be a great Speaker of the House. He became such a rhino and anti-American and anti-what's happening in our Congress and our legislators that he quit before it all came down underneath him. Unbelievable. And now he's on the board of Fox. And that's why one of the reasons is that they have Donna Brazile there, the one that gave the answers to Hillary Clinton during the debate. And you're talking about Trump trying to find dirt on Joe Biden, who Joe Biden says on camera, videotape, that's exactly what he did. Nothing is said about that. No one talks about that. And no matter how many times myself or anybody else makes an issue of it, nothing will be done. The news organizations in today's world is no longer freedom of the press. As I have said, they are the mouthpiece of our oppressors. Trying to control the last place on earth that has a real chance of being free to live our life as we see fit. Unbelievable. I am just so mind blown at what the American people are allowing into their lives. This is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. But we have allowed our politicians who've been in office. That's a good example right there. Chuck Schumer, Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi. What are some of the other ones that have been in there like forever? These people have been in office 50 years. 50 years they have been talking about creating jobs, health care, securing our country. 50 years they have not done any of that. What have they been doing? What are they legislating on? What? Oh my God, somebody vaped. Oh my God, the tobacco companies losing their tobacco cigarettes. They're more worried about hearsay lies and manipulations within their own little group world because they have no other world. They don't see the people. When they're in recess, they're supposed to go back to their constituencies, meet the people, find out what they want, find out what they need to do when they go back to Washington. They don't meet with the people anymore. I'll prove it to you. When they get back from recess, when they come on recess, go try to meet your congressman. Do it. Go try to meet your governor. Do it. You will not be able to get in because if you have something to say, they don't want to listen to you. Not unless you pay them money, or they can get on camera saying, "Look at me." Do it. You cannot get in to see any of these politicians. I have tried, and they shut you down every time. You have to jump through so many hoops just to get to possibly thinking about getting scheduled. Oh, the congressperson is so busy. Look at that. I'm even censoring myself. The congressman, the congresswoman, not the congressperson. All right. It's understandable to dislike a person or a politician. Okay. But think about this. In the end, we have whistleblowers because they keep tabs on the corrupt leaders, but yet we keep re-electing them. And then wonder why our cities are covered in homeless citizens, covered in their own feces. Nobody cares about that. Why? You're worried about what is happening. Los Angeles and San Francisco have become disgusting. I used to live there in Los Angeles. Almost 15 years. I went back there and I could not believe how much that city has changed. You go down on the Strand, and I'm just amazed at how many people are living on the Strand. It's not the fact that they can or can't, and not the fact that there's a plight in these cities, which makes it unreasonable for these people to live. It's because these people don't care about how they live. Oh, they're mentally hurt, or they're digital. You're trying to tell me that 150,000 people that are living on the streets in one area is all mentally deranged? That's a big conglomerate of people that are crazy, all right? And you're trying to ban guns so somebody that is mental doesn't shoot up a school, and you have 150,000 people pooping in the streets, shooting up needles, living in front of businesses of good people that are trying to do business? Are you kidding me? What is wrong with America? Why is not the word getting out? Therein lies a big issue. The media is perpetrating the lie a little by little by little by little. They have turned this country into a wuss in the will. They really want it to be Europe so bad. And they think Europe is so great, but Europe has more problems than we have with all the mismanagement and everything else. The reason why the politicians in the United Kingdom do not want to leave the UA with the Brexit exit, and they're supposed to leave it like, is it the 1st or the end of the October? I'm going to say the end of October, but I got to look up my facts on that. And if they don't have an agreement to get out by then, they just get out. And that will decimate Europe because the United Kingdom, England, is supporting that entire European access. The money they're putting into that economy there, if they pull it out, France and Germany might be the only one that'll survive because they are a resilient people. But France and Italy and all the rest of them live off the economy of England. And they won't know what to do because now they don't have their cash cow anymore. That's the reason for that. So anyway, people in our country and in some of the greatest cities in the world, Los Angeles, New York, San Francisco, living in poop, being given free needles to shoot up their drugs, which are illegally brought into this country anyway. What is wrong? I mean, how come they will enforce certain laws like, what do they call it, where they take your property? Eminent domain. So if they consider that piece of property dangerous, they'll come in and take it and build some highway or something good for it. It's supposed to give you, fair and equal price for the property. But the cities will not enforce the 100-foot eminent domain in front of every property ownership in the country, which means the cities and the states and the governments have the right to tear up your sidewalk in front to lay new wire or power lines, sewerage, make the streets wider, that kind of thing. That's an agreement that you have when you buy your property. Even my house here, they have a certain section of the property. If they need to widen it, they have a right to take my wall out. They might move the wall back for me or whatever, but they have that right to accommodate the growth of the city. But they will allow a person to put a tent up right in the middle of that sidewalk where people will not go into a business because somebody is camped out in front of it. The city should get in there and start enforcing that domain. That's part of the city's responsibility. They're supposed to sit there and say, hey, wait a minute. You have tourists coming through here. You have people wanting to come to visit your city. They can't walk in there because they're being harassed by drug addicts and whatever else that's in the city, pooping right there. You talk about talk about stepping in dog doo. How about stepping in human doo? Are you serious? And they allow this? And I don't want to bust on the Democrats because there are a few Republicans there doing it too. But the cities are mostly run by Democrats that don't care. And you people vote for them over and over again. So I don't want to hear anybody in LA or San Francisco complain about how bad their city is, because you're the one that keeps on reelecting those idiots into office. It's your fault. These people work for you, and you're putting them back in there time and time and time again. Either you're too stupid to realize what they're doing to you, or you just don't care, or you're part of the problem too. So it's understandable to dislike a person or a political leader. I did not like President Obama. I truly believed he was not fighting for America. When he was in office and I saw him do his apology tour around the world and him bowing lower than all the rest, you never saw Trump do that. As a matter of fact, you never saw Bill Clinton do that either, or George Bush or any other president bow as low as that man bowed. And if you bow lower, that means you're subjugated to that other person. Excuse me. I truly believe he is not fighting for America when he was in office. And he wanted to tear down this country any way that he could. My heart believed that about Obama. I still believe that about him. But I did not disrespect him or the office he held. He was voted in by the American people that put him into office. So the American people wanted to try somebody different. And I respect that. But once Obama got into office, and he's a very good orator, he's a very charismatic person, and yes, I did like him when he was running for office. Once he got in, I knew we made a mistake. So there you go. Unlike the hate and the evil coming from the left and the Democratic Party, not to mention the media, who has become the voice of the Democrats. Think about that. Let's do a comparison in history. There is people that actually hated John F. Kennedy. There's people that hated Reagan, Clinton, Bush, Obama. The media sometimes loved them and sometimes hated them. Bless you. Thank you. Sorry. But never in the history of our country have I seen the hatred of our president just because he won the election. Where does that hatred come from? One thing that is for sure, and that is when hatred becomes so ingrained in a person that they can no longer see hope or love or goodness anymore, means to save them from their own hate might, in fact, destroy them altogether. Think about that for a minute. When hatred becomes so ingrained in a person they cannot see hope or love or goodness anymore means to save them from their own hate might in fact destroy them altogether. And that's a sad thing, folks. When you have that much hate in your heart for a single person, that you cannot even pull yourself back to see the goodness that's out there. Your hate encompasses your entire life. Your hate becomes your hate of your job, your friends, your family, all because you hate a person so much because they won an election. Why is there so much hate in the Democrats? Why? The so-called party of the people, the tolerant party, the party of love, when they show nothing of caring for their own people and wanting to build a land where people are free, once again, from the controls of socialist and communist mind. What is this? Where does this hatred come from? Why do people hate like this? I have seen hatred in the military for the enemy. But you have to understand the mindset of the military. They want to win, but once they win, and that's a good example. If the United States fights a war and we win, we rebuild and make those people our friends again. We fix everything. But if we lose, the people that won, i.e. the communists, do nothing for the people that they've conquered. They treat them like dirt, and Vietnam is in that very situation. North Vietnam is still communist. South Vietnam is communist, but it has a lot of capitalism involved in it. But it's very, very controlled. They still use the U.S. dollar. They want the American people to come back to help them out. And it's understandable because we're good people to help everybody. But there's 7 billion people in the world. And there's physically impossible. Good example. I think this will sum up the whole issue with why we can't help everybody. We can try to do the best we can. I don't know how many people have ever saw the movie Crocodile Dundee. And if you have, you'll understand this scene. When he comes out of the hotel and he's in New York City for the very first time, because there's so many people on the streets, he is trying to say good day to every person he meets. And it becomes literally impossible for him to do that, to achieve his goal of meeting everybody. If you're in a small town, in a small country, you can do that. You can actually make it that way. But if you have masses amount of people, you cannot do it all. You can't say that. You have to have it separated out where groups and organizations do the hellos, goodbyes, and I love yous. It's just the way it is. It's just it is. So if you have masses, millions of people coming into our country, living off of our system, it will destroy us. Our Democratic Party wants to destroy us, and they were to be presented as the party of love. But they don't care anything about it. There's streets. People are living in the streets in their own poop, shooting up onto nothing. Nothing is helping them out. They don't care. That organization that went in there and cleaned up 50 tons of trash, and I think there's like 50 people did it or something like that, and they did an outstanding job, and it cost nothing except for time and effort and whatever they used to pick it up. You have all these people living on the streets, and they're all saying we need a job. Why don't you hire them to clean the streets? There you go. The streets need to be cleaned. Let's get them out there and clean them. I don't know. All I know is because of the hatred that's coming from the left and a lot of people in this country, mostly off of the youth that are being coming into our society, that are just discovering what the world is about. Their hatred is not focused yet. Their love is not focused yet. But if these people drive the goodness out of our youth's hearts and replace it with hatred, what kind of country will we be living in 30 years? They're talking about climate change in 12 years dead, which is a total lie. What kind of world will we have if people have nothing but hatred in their hearts? Who knows? Hatred in the hearts of people is scary. Hatred is what's driving the impeachment of Donald Trump. Hatred is what's driving this whistleblower. The love and the goodness that was once the people of the Democratic Party is no longer there. Because if there was just a small smitten of it, they would also take care of the other agenda things that would help this country. They would do their job, legislate the new laws, get these things passed so people can have a good life. But they refuse to do that. All because of hatred. I don't know, folks. I'm Russell Mays. Here once again, I do appreciate everybody that has joined me today. It's unbelievable. Spread the word. Don't hate. If you're a Democrat, please don't hate. If you're a Republican, please don't hate. Get some hope and love and goodness in your hearts again. Push it on the media. Tell the media to stop the hatred train. Let's make America great again. Take care now. Bye-bye. Love y'all. Have a good one.